While Caitlyn is fantastic and I think she's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA, there are women that were worthy of coverage prior to her arriving, and I just will not be silenced when it comes to that.
Here we go again. Why is Caitlin Clark popular?
Caitlin Clark is only popular because she is white. That is a narrative that is very popular among the morons. Major moron, Monica Mcnutt, how she has a job, I absolutely know, at ESPN.
The one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her.
Why her?
Well, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
You think anybody cares if Dejournay Carrington knocks Kennedy Carter on her ass? No. You think anybody cares if Angel Reese misses her next 6 layups, falls down, shows her ass, and claims sexism? No. We only care that Caitlin Clark is playing. We only care that Caitlin Clark is getting beat up. We only care that Caitlin Clark is hitting a deep three. We only care that Caitlin Clark is getting poked in the eye. Everybody else can poke everybody else in the eye. The reason we care because her game is something we have not seen.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Wnba Core. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today, I've got another exciting and highly compelling video for you. If you're a true Caitlin Clark fan, you're definitely going to want to watch this one until the very end. Before we get started, let me know you're part of the Wnba Core community by commenting CC 100% down below. I love seeing all the passionate Clark fans in the comments. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into today's video. The friction between Caitlin Clark and her media detractors couldn't get any more dramatic, but then it did. The sports world was rocked by legal shockwaves. Reports of escalating tension between Caitlin Clark's camp and media figures like ESPN's Monica Mcnutt surfaced recently. Analysts have accused commentators of pushing race-driven narratives that damage Clark's public standing, diminish her fanbase, and attempt to minimize the WNBA's largest commercial surge in history. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, over 90% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, takes just a second, and helps us out tremendously. Have you subscribed already? Great! Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video.
Prevailing narrative that has been created around this season's WNBA play is that it's the league versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
I don't expect the race baiting to stop. I don't expect the hate to stop, the jealousy to stop, the sexism to stop, the bigotry to stop, the stupidity to stop. Because the people that tell you that Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's a white girl are full of shit. You either don't pay attention or you're too dumb.
The prevailing narrative surrounding this WNBA era frames it as the league versus Caitlin Clark, but critics argue that framing is entirely flawed. It overlooks the foundational players who built the league to this threshold, allowing Clark's unprecedented draw to elevate it to commercial heights. Yet, divisive media takes continue. The skepticism, resentment, and identity-driven commentary persist because individuals claiming Clark's popularity stems strictly from her background are ignoring economic realities. You either aren't paying attention to the game or you're refusing to acknowledge skill. Commentators have been implying for months that Clark's massive spotlight was tied more to her demographic than her generational talent, framing her as a Midwestern athlete whose main appeal is limited to suburban demographics. But fans aren't spending hours watching broadcasts or buying arena tickets purely out of demographic alignment, they tune in for historic playmaking. Now, the narrative is reaching a boiling point. Why did this discourse reach a breaking point? Critics highlight how direct pushback against media narratives has grown. When analysts push reductive talking points, players and fans grow exhausted with the rhetoric. The demand for fair basketball coverage over divisive identity takes has never been louder. If mainstream outlets continue using race-centric framing, audiences are threatening to tune out entirely. Why are prominent pundits facing massive pushback behind the scenes? And how did a simple sports media commentary spiral into widespread public backlash and potential legal threats? Yes, we're delving deep into this now. Many media figures appear either too stubborn or too disconnected to admit that their foundational assumptions about Caitlin Clark were simply incorrect. If popularity were strictly tied to demographic background, other talented players from similar backgrounds would have generated the exact same cultural and financial explosion. But no one has shifted the sports economic needle like Caitlin Clark. Yet, media figures rarely step back to admit, we misjudged her impact and reduced generational talent down to identity. So, fasten your seatbelts, because what is transpiring right now could permanently alter sports media coverage. Drop CC 100% in the comments section right now if you support Caitlin Clark and recognize that her success is driven by elite skill rather than media narratives. Let's demonstrate to the world that relentless work ethic, generational talent, and court vision are what truly matter. While rivalries and physical play on the court will continue, Clark's viewership metrics continue to climb higher and higher. Ticket demands for league events continue breaking records. Thanks to the Caitlin Clark effect, ticket valuations for major WNBA events have doubled and tripled compared to previous years. Hey Fever fans, it's Caitlin Clark. I can't wait to play in Indianapolis. I know you guys are excited, and I am too. Go Fever! There is no way the WNBA could host marquee events without Clark's presence driving the center of attention. Whether it's broadcast appearances, court action, or standard press coverage, her presence alone commands massive audiences willing to pay premium prices just to witness history. Tell us again how the Caitlin Clark effect isn't real. It all intensified with what seemed like a routine panel appearance. Rising media personalities and WNBA analysts featured on major networks like the BBC began dissecting the media frenzy surrounding Clark's rookie campaign. During these segments, controversial statements were made that ignited widespread debate across the sports world. Well, she was a white girl from the middle of America. Critics point out how difficult it seems for certain television analysts to give Clark her credit without caveats. The argument was made that because Clark represented a specific demographic from the American heartland, her appeal was tied to identity rather than output. That framing altered the entire public discourse. Caitlin Clark's game commands attention. Her court vision sells out arenas. Her demeanor is focused, and when she speaks, the sports world listens. It has nothing to do with identity politics, it has everything to do with her game. It stems from her historic college runs at Iowa, her logo three-pointers, and her no-look passes. Fans are drawn to electric playmakers regardless of background. While some analysts tried to balance their takes by acknowledging her marketability and excitement, their framing introduced a double standard. By arguing that Clark's unprecedented success wasn't strictly built on court performance, but rather on demographic representation, the narrative turned toxic for many fans. The sports community split into two distinct camps, those who claim her fame is amplified by media bias, and the overwhelming majority who argue that her dominance is purely the result of generational athletic talent. Critics moved fast to challenge media pundits, pointing out that reducing Clark's fan base to demographic alignment insults millions of supporters who admire her court vision, passing accuracy, and leadership. Why is representation celebrated unconditionally for other elite athletes, yet framed as a controversy when it comes to Clark's massive, diverse audience? It wasn't a subtle media take, it was a calculated framing that impacted how fans viewed the sport. Beyond Clark herself, these takes diminished every young fan standing in long lines for autographs, holding homemade signs, and wearing number 22 jerseys. Imagine turning genuine fan enthusiasm into a debate over social optics. For thousands of families attending their first professional women's basketball game, it was simply about supporting a player who brought unprecedented excitement to the floor. Following record-breaking NCAA tournament ratings, where Clark's Iowa games set all-time viewership records for women's basketball, detractors tried to attribute the ratings solely to specific rivalries. But the statistical data proves otherwise. Viewership peaked because of Clark's style of play, drawing historic audiences regardless of the opponent. While media analysts claimed to offer nuanced cultural commentary, the broader public perceived it as an attempt to undermine Clark's earned accomplishments, suggesting her success was handed to her through background advantages rather than forged through relentless training, discipline, and skill. Yet statistical receipts do not care about identity narratives, they reflect reality. Clark broke rookie records, led the league in assists, and generated economic impact never before seen in the sport. Ticket prices for league drafts and games soared exponentially year over year. The pushback against media takes didn't stop in studio rooms, it ignited a massive response across public platforms. Independent podcasters, former athletes, and sports commentators called out network figures for pushing divisive angles into sports coverage. You stand up to unfair media narratives. You don't back down. When you apologize for existing success, the goalposts just keep moving. Analysts noted that Clark's popularity is built on pure basketball execution. Viral clips feature her passing accuracy, deep shooting range, and transition play. Her shooting range extends further than almost any modern guard, creating a highlight reel that captivates casual and die-hard fans alike. Media takes that attempted to tie her appeal strictly to political or demographic categories missed the core truth: fans root for generational talent. Digital trends like #ProtectCaitlyn began sweeping social media, as fans shared videos of Clark engaging warmly with young supporters of all backgrounds, completely debunking claims of exclusive appeal. Public figures and sports executives began openly calling out major networks for leveraging identity takes against the very player generating historic revenue for the league. Critics noted how absurd it was to minimize an athlete whose flash, range, and court presence mirror the modern era of basketball better than almost anyone before her. As on-court physical play intensified, with hard fouls, aggressive coverage, and heated exchanges, fans began connecting the dots. Media narratives framing Clark as a controversial figure created an environment where physical targeting seemed encouraged. During broadcast segments, commentators noted how little girls showed up in droves with their parents, bringing unprecedented energy to arenas. While media figures tried to analyze why audiences attached themselves to Clark, fans made their reasons clear: she is an electrifying athlete who plays with passion and precision. Former players and media personalities who relied on negative takes for engagement found themselves facing serious consumer pushback. When criticism turned into consistent discrediting, the sports world demanded media accountability. What began as studio debate has evolved into a broader discussion on journalistic integrity, media responsibility, and fair reporting. Insiders report that Clark's legal and representation teams have taken firm stances against libelous framing and deliberate character hits aimed at undermining her commercial standing. Clark's play speaks for itself: logo three-pointers, elite transition passing, high-scoring output, and league-leading assist numbers. She plays with a flair that commands attention. Yet, media coverage frequently attempted to frame her rise through a lens of privilege rather than performance. Legal and media experts note that pushing false narratives to discredit an athlete's earned economic standing crosses the line from commentary into reputational damage. The economic numbers remain undeniable. WNBA attendance hit 20-year highs, drawing over 2.3 million fans to arenas in a single season, a massive 48% jump directly tied to Clark's entry into the league. This ongoing media debate is about more than just basketball. It represents a turning point in how athlete narratives are handled in modern sports media. Caitlin Clark didn't ask for media culture wars; she earned her platform through relentless work, broken records, and legendary collegiate runs. But when narratives tried to rewrite her effort, the basketball world stepped up to set the record straight. Network analysts who built takes on controversial framing are now facing a public that demands honesty over media spin. One thing is abundantly clear: Caitlin Clark is not only transforming the economic reality of women's basketball, but she is also reshaping the standard for media accountability in sports. Who do you stand with in this evolution of sports media? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you value authentic coverage over media spin, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to WNBA Core to stay fully updated as this story continues to unfold. Stay focused, stay authentic, and keep your eye on the game.